Attention! The National Weather Service has issued a hurricane warning for the entirety of the National Hockey League. Please stay tuned for further information from the storm cellar.
Going streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium. Come on, everybody! Woo! Come on! We're streaking! Come on! Come on! We're running! Come on! Woo! Woo! We're streaking! We're streaking!
Welcome back to the Storm Cellar. We are streaking down to the quad, Ray. How are you doing, man?
Fantastic. It's a great way to start the new year. Hopefully your New Year celebration was great. Ours, kind of low key, you know what I mean? But it was all about the hockey. You know what I mean? Like, that's a great way to, the undefeated hat continues. This is unbelievable. There's so much to talk about. I want to get right in it, but I have to say, off the top, first of all, no guest today, just you and me in the storm cellar. And
Quiet day.
But the month ahead, we've lined up some guests, which is great. So we're looking forward to that. But I'm watching you right now, and dude, that's a great look you're carrying right now.
Thank
My
you, sir.
goodness, dude. That jersey looks fantastic. And I love that you went kind of off the board too with this.
Thanks to Daniel Wagner, I'm wearing my 25th anniversary hat. So thanks to him again for sending those. Those were a super awesome surprise.
Undefeated hats. I
Undefeated.
can't wear mine because, again, it's right now, it's what's winning us games.
I hear you.
Correlation is causation in this particular case. We'll keep that in mind.
And I had to. So I've been consciously on an effort to lose weight. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm saying, okay, if I used to eat a burger and fries, now I eat half a burger and half my fries, right? I'm just straight calorie reduction. I still eat the things I want to eat. I've cut out soda for the most part. I already didn't drink alcohol. I don't smoke. I don't even curse all that much anymore. I'm pretty boring. But this is not a Fanatics breakaway, which I love. I love buying those to wear to games. So if like I get something spilled on me or whatever, I'm not too upset because they're not high-end jerseys.
Yeah.
But I also bought them because they come in sizes of 3X, 4X, and 5X, which I needed for the past 20-something years. This is a reverse retro, authentic, in size 60 goalie size, and it fits, and I am so excited. I'm so close. Like, I think my Teravainen jersey is a 58. I have a couple other 58s and 56s in the closet. I'm looking forward to, hopefully in the next, maybe by the end of the season, being able to slide some of those on too. But I had to go with Jalen Chatfield. I mean, 1 point, I should say 1 goal, which was phenomenal. I loved watching that, by the way. But meeting him at the Calder Cup, like, just an excellent skater, smart positionally. I just like the kid's vibes. He was out there. I have pictures of him like hugging, I think it might have been his mom or his grandma on the ice with the Calder Cup. I mean, just what a good kid. And as of now, this is the jersey I'm probably wearing to the Stadium Series game.
Nice. And you're representing play. See, it's funny too, because when you look at, the fans of virtually every team, right? The jersey purchases gravitate towards the superstars and stuff like that. But it's great to see when the guys that fly under the radar, that do their job, lunch pail guys that work hard, get their props too.
They earn it, right?
Yeah, they absolutely earned it. So it's fantastic. I love your selection.
Still looking for my Kevin Adams game worn, right? Still love the guy.
Oh, yes. No question.
I do have Force Fest jerseys, but I specifically haven't gotten like an Aho or like a Slavin, not because I don't love those guys, but I want, like, whenever I had bought a Jalen Chatfield puck a goal puck from the Calder Cup finals.
Yep.
And one reason I want to wear this to the Stadium Series is if there's any way that week that I can get him to sign that puck, I want him to see me with his name, his number, to know like, hey, I told him last year, I said, I'm going to see you in Carolina next year. I will see you in Raleigh. And he kind of laughed and, and was super polite about it. But I want to be like, hey, do you remember I told you last year after the Calder Cup that I would see you in Raleigh? Here I am. Sign this for me and let's get a picture, show off the swag. And I'm excited.
That'd be outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. So I love the jersey, love the look. Congrats on the success in your goals.
Thank you.
Shrinking down. That's friggin' fantastic. And you know what? It's the streak. The streak continues. 11 wins in a row. We are running away a little bit from the rest of the Metro. Although I have to say, the Metro is leaps and bounds ahead of virtually every other division. It's crazy how tight it is. And even though we're on this humongous streak, there's other teams that are playing well enough to keep us from running away from them. You know what I mean? Like this is just unbelievable. Last week, we'll go over the last three games. Chicago, we all figured was going to be, a victory. We were thinking that Kochetkov would be in net. Instead, we got Ranta, and he puts up a shutout. And really, it was the second straight shutout of Chicago by the exact same score, 3-0. Sorry, center ice. But
good.
It was great. And so you knew that once he put up that shutout, it's a kind of an unwritten rule. If you're in a goaltending situation where you switch out, a lot, or you have interchangeable parts, if someone puts up the goose egg, they get the next game to see how far it'll go. So everyone's still looking for Gucci. Disappointed because Ranta goes in and then totally blanks Florida. Made some big saves in that one. Florida, there's a couple of shots there like he had no business making saves on. And again, he does it. So he blanks Florida 2 straight. And of course, you got to keep riding that wave. So he comes out against the Devils and looked really good at the start. Okay. The first period, he looked great. Finally, a goal is allowed. And then there were a couple of softies in there. Needless to say,
not his best game, but not terrible either.
No, it wasn't horrendous, right? Like he did have a couple of softies, and you could see the disappointment, like the goal that Bratt scored, just sniping it, 5-hole or whatever on him, and you could see that visceral reaction that he had immediately after one that he felt that he should have had. There was a couple. 2 of the 4 goals allowed were stoppable, normally would have been stopped, and they were just a little bit leaky, right? But then
after 2 shutout games or 2 shutouts, it's going to happen. There's not a goalie on the planet that doesn't happen to.
No, 100%. Not only that, it was 160 plus minutes of shutout hockey. A team is bound to score. You are going to allow a goal at some point. So, but what was really great was the extremely short memory that he had, which he displayed perfectly in overtime and in the shootout. And in overtime, I'm sorry, that was probably one of the most exciting overtimes I have ever seen.
Both ways.
Yes, it was. Right?
That was a blood pressure. That was a hypertension inducing overtime for sure.
It was like Okay, I was gonna say it was like a boxing match, except boxing matches are never like the ones you see in Rocky. This was like Rocky, where they throw haymakers at each other and they always land. There's like no defense in a Rocky boxing movie. They just sit there and let each other punch each other's brains out or whatever. And it's like, and that's what they were going to back and forth, these humongous strikes and
Yeah,
Jack
Slavo with the
Hughes and
breakaway.
Slavin with the
Slavin
breakaway.
had the breakaway, and my first thought was, like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, he is completely
He was
gassed,
so out of
and
gas. And
what are you
I
gonna
was
do? Same thing. What are you gonna do? Like,
I was
could he have
surprised
maybe
he
got it?
wasn't
Yeah, but
caught. I was
yeah,
surprised he wasn't caught because he was like just pushing, trying to get there, right? Oh my gosh.
that was me after playing like, yeah, a minute and a half of hockey. I'd been like, oh
Yeah.
no, I'm tired. And then
Yeah.
Jarvis had a good chance. New Jersey had a couple that Ronta stopped,
Oh
and then
man.
shootout, Ronta just blanks him. That's
Yeah,
that's
like
that's what you want. He came up big when you needed him to come up big.
exactly.
Carolina gets 2
Exactly.
points, top of the Metro, extends their lead they're up on New Jersey by 7 points, Ray. That's how good the streak has been. And
And
they are 4 points behind Boston, who has been on just a tear from the get-go.
and it wasn't so long ago that the Hurricanes were 10 points back of the Devils?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, it was like back in
Less than a
November,
month
right?
ago. We were 6 or 8, or I'm sorry, we were 8 or 10 points out less than a month ago, I think.
Yeah, and it just what a complete reversal, right? Like you catch lightning in a bottle and you never want to let it go, right? And we'll look ahead at the schedule here a little bit later on, but the potential is there for like an even further winning streak that could, become an NHL record and not just a franchise
Oh
record.
boy. You know what I was looking at? I don't want to get too far into that because just me superstitiously, like,
Yeah,
myself, but
100%.
those 2 shutouts really helped the goal differential. Because if you
Oh, no
remember, I think
question.
at the start of December, I started talking about it in earnest because I said this is a good predictor of how you're really playing, and they were at a 0. They're
Yeah,
at a plus 24
it's and climbing
and
and
climbing.
climbing
They're 3
fast.
behind New Jersey. They're like half of the Bruins. The Bruins are a plus 56, which is amazing.
Yeah,
Toronto's a plus 31. But if you look in the East, other than Boston and Toronto, the rest of the Atlantic is playing okay-ish, but not good. Neither is the rest of them. It's really the Metro down to 6th, right? The Islanders,
yep.
Boston, Toronto, and then maybe Tampa Bay, and then everybody else is kind of eh. Buffalo has huge numbers. They have a plus 20 goal differential. They kind of are making a liar out of me because they're
Well, when
18
they
and 15.
yeah,
But
when
they're
they
also
win,
scoring 7 in a win and then
that's
then
right.
losing 2-1. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. That last night, Ottawa beats them 3-1. So it was. They have those nights where they just explode, and they have all of this offense, offensive potential
mhm.
every night. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous.
Look at the standings. You know what I think? I think the Metro is going to send 5 teams to the playoffs.
Wouldn't that be
I think the
something?
Atlantic is going to get their 3 in. I think the Metro is going to send in their 3 plus the 2 wild cards. I think are both going to be for the Metro.
Oh,
The only team that's close in the Atlantic is Detroit and Buffalo, and those teams are not as good as the Rangers or Pittsburgh. And the Islanders aren't playing terrible either.
yikes! Hey, can you believe that?
Man,
It's
it's
like
we used to complain about being in the old South Least Conference, they would call us.
South
And
Least.
they're like, oh, we're gonna put them in the Metro, and also like the Metro is like the hottest conference in hockey, and you're
Yeah, isn't
the
that?
hottest division in hockey, and you're like, what in the world?
It's just amazing. It's just amazing.
It's fun to
Uh,
watch.
it is. It is. How about Natchez with the game tying goal on the power play? What a great shot that was. Tip of the cap to Svetch for being in front of the net because he did not see that shot. Wedgwood did not.
I thought Wedgwood played pretty well overall too. I
Oh, he
mean,
was. He made some huge saves.
He made some big saves. I heard a few people complain about that from the Jersey side of things. I didn't think it was a problem. I'm glad they got the power play goal. The last 3 weeks, the power play percentage has gone up like 12 points.
Yeah, but you know what they were ripping on Wedgwood for, which, I mean, it was the gaff that gave Aho the shorty, right?
I thought it was funny. It didn't bother me.
It didn't bother me any, but you could hear them. Wedgwood makes a ton of big saves. He gaffs on that, which gives up the shorty, and the very next shot on net, he got that jeering cheer,
The
like
Bronx
hey,
cheer. It's New Jersey. I mean, yeah.
It's like, come on, guys, the man's standing on his head, and he makes one mistake, and yes, it was huge, big part of the game. But come on, guys, like
Sebastian Aho was very intimidating looking, I think.
Well, it must have been, yeah.
Let's say the good news for the Jersey fans is they did it once and then they didn't do it. You know what I mean? They didn't continue.
Yeah.
You know, they did it the one time just to kind of let him know, like, you should have had that. He knew. And I'm glad that they did not continue doing that because I thought he had a really good game.
I thought he did too. He played great, but I mean, you know, the Hurricanes just found a way. And now I had a few people questioning and the rash of penalties at the end that gave the opportunities to the Hurricanes. What was your take on the trip/embellishment call?
As a Canes fan who has seen the Canes called for embellishment quite a bit, I will stick with the same thing I say when the Canes do it. It should be a trip it should be a penalty or an embellishment, preferably. Mm-hmm. I can see where both are technically correct, but it should be super egregious. So I don't generally like those calls.
Yeah.
And I didn't necessarily like that one either, but having been on the losing end of that so many times, you know, it's one of those times where when the Hurricanes kind of get screwed over by the refs and I'm mad in the moment and I think about it later and I go, okay, you know, one day we'll get that one back.
Yeah.
This is one of those moments, right? But you know, if a guy just taps a guy and the guy goes flying, call the embellishment, but don't call the penalty if it's not really a penalty. If it's really a penalty and the guy embellishes, it should be a fine and not like a CBA $2,000 fine that means nothing. Like embellishment should not be a penalty, but it should be 25 grand.
Yeah.
And if you do that 3 or 4 times a year, that's real money.
Yeah.
I mean, once is real money to me, but to an NHLer 3 or 4 times, right? Maybe to a rookie twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I looked at that, and to me, it was one of those things where it was near the end of the game and it was a little bit of a ticky-tack, but it was a trip. Teravainen did trip him. There was no question about it.
Yeah, he got him.
But it was as though he called the embellishment because it was so late in the game. You didn't want to be, it's like the ref didn't want to be the reason why, you know, he affected the score of the game. The problem in that case, though, is if you don't want to be, then put the whistle in your pocket. You know what I mean? Like, don't, and unless it's egregious, like it was the high stick that came after, I believe, and which was very crazy. There was a lot of confusion about this, but the delay of game that happened in there as well. There were 3 Devils in the box, and it took them a long time to figure out what the situation would be after the Teravainen penalty ended.
Yeah,
they were trying to figure out, is it 5-on-3? Is it 5-on-4? Is it 4? Like, what is it? They just couldn't. It took them a long time, and in fact, the head office in the center of the universe, Toronto, they had to kind of call in and iron things out to figure out exactly how it should have gone.
Yeah, that's one of those times where at least they got it right.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the 100%. Natchez, I don't understand I mean, the one thing, for his goal, it was like the sea parted for him when he got the puck and turned into this center, into the middle of the rink. There was no one near him and no one challenging him either. Like, he skated up the center of the ice, and then that quick snap, well, there was just no chance. It
It
was a
was really
great
a beauty.
goal.
And with those points, I believe he's tied or exceeded his point total for last year already, which is amazing.
So
Yeah.
he's found himself. He is verifying what you and I have said about him for a long, long time. This kid is super talented. He's got all of the tools to be one of the best in the league.
Yep.
And he is showing it now. He's got that confidence. It's looking great.
Never doubted the skills.
No, exactly.
Definitely, I doubted, is this the place like mentally for him, but never doubted that he could play. I'm glad he's making me look dumb. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, we were the thought of trading him was not because we didn't want him. Our idea of trading him was because he had value. He could bring a lot to us.
And he's young. Like, I like seeing even our kids who, they're young, maybe they're not playing well for us. I want to see them succeed.
100%.
Like, I like seeing Fleury go. I was happy when Fleury ended up in Anaheim and was playing well. And I was upset that Ronnie Francis took him to Seattle and then basically sat him. I didn't like that,
Yeah.
I like seeing Canes go other places to do well for the most part.
As long as they're not playing us.
Right. Preferably. You know who's had a better year than I thought?
Far away.
Is it just me? It feels like, totally anecdotally, it feels like Sebastian Aho's been a little off this season. Like, he's not quite put up the points.
Yeah.
And I just looked at it and I'm dead wrong, because he's averaging a point per game. And I would have told you it's probably more like 0.85 or something. And nope, he's averaging a point per game. Marty Natchez is at 0.97. Svetch is at 0.86. Brett Burns, 0.73. Those guys are on fire.
Aho, yeah. Now, understand, the Aho's number is probably going up because of the 7 games that he missed. You know what I mean? Like, that would affect the point per game
absolutely
situation. But all the same, he is still performing. When he's on the ice, he's putting up the numbers. There's secondary assists. I looked at the game last night and it was like, wait, Aho got a touch on that? I didn't even realize, you know what I mean? And it's just that way. Like, he's getting in and making things happen.
I think Aho's been the go-to. When you needed points in the past couple of years, you went to Aho. Then you started to rely a little bit on Svetch. And this year, it's kind of been the Svetch and Natchez show.
Yeah.
And Aho's just being Aho, just keeping his feet moving, going high on Vasilevsky, not going to 5-hole. I know he had that in his pocket for the last 5 years. I was like, oh, I'm going to make Vasilevsky look bad. Watch this.
There we go. Watch this. It's sharing the load, right? When you're getting that secondary scoring, and look, Natchez and Svechnikov are not secondary. They're part of the main grid, right? So, but when everyone is chipping in, the load is not as heavy, and it just means more success. And how about, I kind of got called out on this on Twitter because in my toast to the team, I had been leaving out Nason, and Nason has been spectacular on the power play, on the fourth line. He's got 8 goals.
Yep.
5 of them have been the first goal of the game. He's that guy who is getting the Canes off on the right foot, putting us out in a lead. You hate chasing games, and he's helping in that regard. His work on the power play, everyone kind of said, well, what the heck is this? Nason on the first line power play? What what is this? And it's a case of Rod knowing better than all of us. He throws him out there, and Nason goes to the front of the net, and he's great.
So I mentioned your top 4 point getters a minute ago: Natchez, Svechnikov, and Aho, Burns.
Yep.
Nason's number 5.
Isn't that nuts?
He's ahead of Jarvis. He's ahead of Martinook and Stahl, who have had great years. He's ahead of Brady Shea, Jasper Fast. And in all credit, I still think that Jesperi is going to be our 3C and maybe grow into a 2C. I still think that he can do it.
Yeah,
but
I do too.
Having him on the 4th, as the 4C with Martinook up on the 3rd line, our bottom 6 have just been spectacular. Those guys in my mind, they'll never get enough credit for this streak that we've been on.
No, they won't.
I mean, I think we all acknowledge it on one level, but without those, I think the New Jersey game was Martinook and Fost were 2 of the goals.
Yep.
Right. Florida, I think, was the same thing. Stahl maybe, and I forgot who was scoring, but they've been playing phenomenal hockey. Maybe the best bottom 6 in hockey.
100%. You are absolutely right, Brad. And I mean, there was that one game where it was the 3rd line that put up the majority of the points. And we've said there's that dichotomy, right? It's great to have a 3rd line that is considered your best line in the game comes from the 3rd. I mean, that is the definition of secondary, input and scoring, secondary scoring in general. But it's also, when you're looking at it and going, your 3rd line is your best. You know what I mean? Like that sounds a little weird. Great. It does sound weird, but the proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? Like they are doing fantastic.
It's like the Norris. The best line isn't the line that scores the most points. The best line should be the line that's doing it all. And that 3rd line is doing everything that's asked of.
No question. And the 4th line, Nason and Stepan in the last game, that pass from Nason on the opening goal.
That was a beaut.
Oh, wasn't it? That was a heck of an apple. Very tasty. And Stepan with the quick hands, because when he got his stick on the puck, it was past the net, and all of a sudden, and it was in, and it was like, dude, that
was a great goal.
Those are some silky mitts. I liked it. It was great. It was great. I was
gonna say, not to go too far down the tangent, but when Patches comes back in hopefully 3-4 weeks, I've seen at least pitched around, maybe put Patches up on the top 2 lines, maybe drop Jarvis down to the 4th line because of the style of play. Can you imagine a 4th line of KK, Nason, and Jarvis out there just wrecking stuff?
Oh my goodness. Oh,
I mean, knock on wood, Patches was brought in to score goals. Knock on wood, he will score goals.
Yeah.
But then you have 7 top 6 guys. And I do think Jarvis maybe is the natural one to move down this year. He's not that he's had an off year. He's still 6 in scoring. He's got 19 points. He's a +1. He's scoring at, 0.51 goals per game. But that energy that fearlessness he brings, I could see putting him with like a KK and a Nason and just saying, go do your thing, boys.
Stand and watch. Just sit back and watch, because they could do a lot. Those no-look passes. How many no-look apples has he had where he just puts it right on the tape and it's instant goal? How many have we seen? Like he's got a knack or a sense. Like, is it Spidey sense? I don't know what we call it.
I feel like maybe he went and hung out with Turbo or something and osmosis, maybe.
Yeah.
And just because Teravainen can do that with Aho all day. And it's like Jarvis just picked it up and like, I can do that too.
Yeah, watch this. And he's not looking nowhere near. He's like checking, he's looking into the stands saying, yeah, take a look at this. Watch. And he throws the pass over and the puck's in the net. It's unbelievable. I love Jarvis. I love where we're going. This is as good as I have felt about this team in ever. I mean, honestly, like this franchise, we are really onto something here. And yeah, that
Mhm.
might be 11-game win streak and 17 games point streak talking here, but I gotta say,
Still
like,
feels good, right?
it feels great. It absolutely feels great.
I don't want to compare this team to last year's team too deeply, but I can certainly feel like the last couple of years feel like the most talented Canes teams of all time.
Yeah,
Obviously, the 2006 team won a cup. The 2002 team got us to the finals, but the 2002 particularly, a lot of luck in there. I mean, it's always
yeah,
luck when you win the cup. There's going to be luck no
sure.
matter what. But if you were going to play the 2006 team against this team, I think this team on paper, you would go, oh, they're going to win. Like that's just clearly a much better team. And we haven't even seen like Andre Kasha.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
jeez.
we haven't seen Patches.
Yeah,
If those guys can come in and play, even if just one of them, even if Patches comes in and we don't get Kasha back, I mean, Don has said that's our trade, that's kind of our trade deadline deal. We get
yeah,
Patches back. That's the move I would make at the deadline anyway. So I'm not expecting a deadline move. I think getting Patches back is the thing because I don't know what you move out to get somebody good, right?
yeah.
But it feels good.
Lots of arrows in the quiver. And uh speaking of trade possibilities and stuff, the Athletic puts out I love this segue, right? We're professional or something.
Hey, you
Um,
worked in radio. I'm
I
just a
did. There you
guy
go.
in a jersey.
The Athletic puts out a fantastic article. I can't remember the author.
Eric Tuhachik.
There you go. Thank you for picking me up. He posits uh, 5 trades that he really wanted to see that would be beneficial, and he drops in on something that you kind of hinted at for a trade as a player that you would like to see when we were discussing, we've got 3 goaltender situation. What do we do if we're going to make a deal? This is maybe the guy I'd like to see. And wouldn't you know it, he suggests Ryan O'Reilly. And it was like, wow, Brad, someone's listening to us again, right? Because it
I said
was a
I didn't
great
realize he was a
idea.
fan of the show. Thanks, Eric. We appreciate your patronage, sir.
It's awesome. Ryan O'Reilly and Bo Horvat to the Hurricanes. Those were the ones the players that he felt could do the most, and it was predominantly because of the situation second line center.
Right. Exactly.
So what should the Canes do is going out for that second line center before the trade deadline or at the trade deadline. Is that the thing that guarantees, and no trade actually guarantees that you're going to be there in the Stanley Cup final. But I mean, that would really tilt the scales in our favor. There's no question.
Absolutely.
I look at Horvat as being perhaps the better choice than Ryan O'Reilly, but there's no mistaking O'Reilly. He's got a sense of winning. He's got that Stanley Cup winning experience, and experience just cannot be. I mean, Ryan O'Reilly, like you said, very similar to the Doug Weight pickup at the deadline in 2006.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that experience just cannot be overlooked.
For me, I mean, so Bo Horvat's having a heck of a year. He's already hit 40 points. He's a +2 even with the 40 points. Ryan O'Reilly's got like 16, 19, and he's a big minus. So defensively, not ideal, but he also has a cup ring and leadership.
Yep.
Right. Would come in my mind when I mentioned Tarasenko and O'Reilly. Those guys are both free agents next year.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of them really seem to want to stay in St. Louis. Tarasenko is all but gone. I don't think there's any chance they keep him. They might be able to keep O'Reilly.
One skate out the door already.
I think both of them are in that vein, and that's why I kind of mentioned them earlier. I said these guys are guys who the Blues are gonna lose unless they're signed before the trade deadline. I don't think either of them are going to stay. That puts a little pressure on them, right? You might get a better deal. Yep. I don't know what the cost would be for Horvat, because I think it's going to be too expensive, but
it would be high.
26 goals and 14 points. I mean, 1.11. He instantly becomes your best point per game guy. Yep. I don't think we want to move assets for a guy like that with Patches just coming into the fold.
Yeah.
But O'Reilly's having for him a kind of an off year, but veteran presence, right? He's a Doug Weight. He's that kind of a guy that he comes in, he gives you body, he can be a 2C, he has leadership, he has cup experience.
Yep.
Those things matter, I think.
A lot of boxes checked off.
They do. And I don't think a move's going to happen. I don't know. I'd have to know what the deal was to know if I would pull the trigger or not. And I'm certainly going to be on the fence because I really like where things stand at the moment. But yeah, I mean, it was just, it was nice once in a while to see someone go, hey, my idea wasn't completely, out in left field. This other people see this and go, oh, okay, maybe I have learned something after 25 years of hockey.
Exactly. And like here's the thing. And you were talking about the price and what it would take to get either of those. I think the fact that they are free agents both next season, it actually weighs in Carolina's favor because they are rentals that you have for only a month, 2 months, and that's it, that the price maybe isn't as high. It may be high, but it might be something like, look, let us rent O'Reilly for 3 months or whatever, hopefully 5 months, and
there you go.
And we'll send you a couple of picks, or a player, a prospect, and a pick, or whatever, right? Like if it's someone that had contract length on it where we control it, then the price becomes even higher. Like even higher,
Right. And that's why I kind of went with those two guys. Is the Blues, I think one of them's out the door. I think Tarasenko's gone no matter what. I think Riley's leaning toward leaving. So there's that pressure. If you're not going to resign them, you're going to trade them. The question is, who's going to give you the best offer? Right. If it's a rental, you're right. That can work in your favor a little bit. The other big caveat to that, any kind of a deal, not just that deal, any kind of a deal, is Patches. Yeah. If Patches comes in and just, helps lead you deep into a Stanley Cup run, he's a free agent. Do you get it? When he came in, I took it as, okay, he's coming in, he'll be a free agent next year. He wants a shot at the Cup. And I didn't think long-term about Patches. And I haven't seriously thought long-term about Patches yet. But what if he comes in and he's just fire?
Yeah.
Jordan Staal, if Jordan comes back, I think Jordan's not going to make $6 million a year. That's going to free up cap space, even if the cap doesn't go up. So you have room to add a scorer. And if, the devil, right? If Patches comes in and lights the lamp, then, if he fits in with the locker room, they do a great job. Then you got to look at him. So then an O'Reilly or Horvat or anybody else is just a rental, because you're not going to have the money for both of those guys on top of the free agents we have coming up for next year and the next year after that. And
your thing about Patches is such a great point, because really, and the talk is that Patches might be in the lineup within the next 10 games.
Yeah,
and
I heard Rod say that.
That within the next 10 games, if he gets in that early, and he'll be there for, the Stadium Series game, which will be great, and all the rest of it, and he is straight fire, then the question really becomes, do you need to change anything?
Right.
Look where we are right now and what we have, the tools that we have. If he is straight fire and scoring in bunches,
Mhm.
do you actually need to make
Why
a trade?
shake it up?
Don't fix, if it's not broke, don't fix it, kind of thing,
Mhm.
right?
I will say, and having met Jimmy Rutherford a few times, and I think I told the story about I was in his office with a group of folks, learned about the black jerseys, the third alts for the first
Yeah.
time. He kind of let that slide with us, and I liked him, and I always thought he did a good job. But I put more confidence in Don Waddell, I guess is what I'm getting at. Because Don seems to be more of a straight shooter. Jimmy knew the game and made moves and clearly, made a lot of good moves. And sometimes I'd scratch my head. And not that Don's perfect, but I feel like Don has a really good grasp on what Rod needs to compete. I think it's very clear that Rod has a type of player he wants. And that makes the GM's job easier, right? I mean, for as much as I bag on Paul Maurice as being a good guy and a mediocre coach, look at what he had to work with some years. I mean, it's just, it's some of that's just on the GM, guys not wanting to come here, having to convince guys, those types of things. That's all changed, and that makes Don's job easier. Rod Brittenmore saying, look, I want two-way guys who are going to play my way, makes Don's job easier. So
totally,
I wouldn't want to be Don for some of these decisions, but if Patches comes in and is just blowing it up, I would be hard pressed to make any changes at that point, because even though you could bring in another guy who's better, but that doesn't mean, it's like a jigsaw puzzle, a new, bigger, stronger piece doesn't necessarily fit. So
there's chemistry aspects in there, right? Like who is going to fit with whom and all the rest of it. And look, Rod changes the lines enough that he is going to find, he's going to find the combination that works the best.
Right.
Even with Patches added in here, the whole idea of where you put him and who you move out has been a question that we've talked about for a long time. That's just with the addition of Patches. Never mind the possibility of making a trade deadline pickup that gives us even further strength. Wow, just a wealth of riches. You gotta love it. You absolutely have to.
At least in our position, if things go good or bad, we can just sit here and praise or criticize to our heart's content.
And no question.
That's why we have a podcast, folks.
That's why we have a podcast.
Yeah, we can just blow Donnie up anytime something goes wrong. Well, I don't think we do. I think we're pretty fair.
I thought we try. We're realist.
Yeah, on the show. Now on Twitter, sometimes during a game, after a game, I'm probably very unfair at times.
Yeah,
but I think by the time the show comes around, I think we've always given them a pretty fair shake. And like right now they're hot, and I'm telling you they're hot. And when they were stinking a few weeks ago, I said, look, it's not that bad. It's early in the season. It'll gel.
Yep.
And a few weeks later, here we are talking about the hottest team in the league.
It's just unbelievable. Here we go again. We just talked about Patches and the possibility of being back in time for the Stadium Series. This is very leaky. Do we now? The former president of the United States complained about all of the leaks that he had in the White House. I have to ask, can anyone keep a secret for the Hurricanes? Because the Stadium Series jerseys were leaked a long time ago, and it looks like they've been kind of re-leaked again before the actual, there's never there's never been a statement or from the team that says, here they are, here are the jerseys, this is what your Hurricanes are going to look like on the ice,
Yeah. And just to throw this out there for folks on social media, I think that's coming from the league, because Washington hasn't unveiled theirs either. The whole wait till after Christmas thing. People wanted them in time for Christmas to order them, get them customized, wear them to the game.
Yeah.
I honestly believe, I think when you show up to the game or even the Hall of Fame game, the Eye is going to have Stadium Series jerseys, with names and numbers on them, just like they do with the regular jerseys. I think you'll be able to buy a jersey with your favorite player if you're fast, right? Because they're going to sell out.
You're going to have to.
The new jersey, it looks like what they did was they took the Stadium Series concept from 2020. They gave it like the prime green, Adidas prime green feel to it. So the crest is all tactile sewn on. It's a little shinier. The North Carolina flag on the right shoulder is a darker color now. But that's all it looks like. This all came from LB jerseys, Liberty Bell jerseys online. And, they posted it and included a screenshot of, a tag that looks like it says Stadium Series, 2022 or something like that. So we don't know if these leagues are official, but it's fun to speculate a little bit. I'm not sold. If they put the black numbers on the arms over the red and they put red numbers on the back with like red stitching, I'm not going to probably like them. If you even just adding like wide white stitching to those letters and numbers would give a little pop, from far away, where like the letters and names stand out when you're in a stadium.
Yes.
That would be a big thing. I almost ordered a 25th anniversary last night. And I said, no, I'm going to wait because I'm getting that or the Stadium Series. I'm probably not going to do both this year. I'll try and catch one on clearance later. But the more I look at them, it's not that I don't like them. They're so dark in a big stadium. I want to see a little pop of white or silver. And I think putting, like I said, so if you remember the original Canes blacks, they had the dark red numbers with the really bright white stitching. If you put those numbers and letters in the old font on this jersey, I think you got a winner.
It's so strange. I looked at those pictures and just went, I know a lot of people are up on it and really like it. And I'm not necessarily a fashionista. I don't, you can't come to me. I'm not, big on wardrobe and things like that, but I know what appeals to me on a hockey jersey, and that just isn't it. And maybe it's because the pictures don't reveal the name, the fonts, the numbering. Like, what does that all look like?
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
It is part of it. And we spoke earlier this season about the 25th anniversary, the font that they used for the names and numbers. It is exactly what you think of when you thought of Hurricane. It was the perfect font used for Hurricanes. It just said, if you looked at the number,
just the number, that's the Canes.
The number, that's the Hurricanes jersey right there. Like,
I love
you could
that
just
font.
identify it. It is a fantastic one. For me, the 25th anniversary is the one that I'll be getting because of the lettering. And
I'm leaning hard that it's the reverse retro is a good one. Reverse retro came out in the little intro videos they did for all the teams that were the same, and I went, God, that's ugly.
Yeah,
and it was because they had it under laser lights and they were colored, and you really couldn't tell. And I was like, okay, it's not really retro, which is okay. I actually like the style, but I said, and then Walt Ruff or somebody posted pictures under like a red light, maybe the Canes, and I'm like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought, but And then somebody posted it like under normal fluorescent lighting. I'm like, oh, that looks fantastic. Why just post that first? I've been complaining about how it doesn't look right for a week, and then you post under regular old normal lights, and I'm like, oh, that actually is. I love it. And in person, the red is gorgeous. Like, it's a beautiful color. It's a little New Jersey-ish, maybe, but
a little.
But with the 25th, I got the 25th anniversary patch on this one. And I like that they went to just the black and red NHL logo in the front.
Yes.
Right at the collar. I think that looks good.
It looks great. I love the patches, like the patches and the shoulder, like the flags on the shoulders, the numbering, super bright. It just it's got that pop that you're looking for. You know,
it really does. I've been wearing it around today because Winter Classics today at Fenway Park. So a bunch of people in my town are hopping on the commuter rail to head into there are tons of Bruins jerseys around, people going to the commuter rail station. So I intentionally walked downtown to pick up breakfast, in my Cane sweater. And, and for the most part, people were cool. They were kind of, oh yeah, okay, well, we'll get you this year kind of deal. I'm like, well, good luck today.
Yeah.
I don't care who wins, but I do enjoy people seeing fun. That's, because I get it. Like I'm 6 weeks away and I'm excited for ours. So I'm sure that they're really pumped to get out there today.
It's so weird walking in an NHL city wearing another team's jersey or gear, because I get strange looks all the time here in Calgary. I've always got something Hurricane on me, and it's just like I had one guy say to me, I had work. I had to meet this guy for work, and I show up and I'm wearing my Toronto Raptor hoodie and my Hartford Whaler hat, and he looks at me and goes, "Your Whaler hat and your Raptor hoodie confuse me." The first words out of his mouth, I started laughing, and I was like, two different leagues. I mean, I can it was a lost discussion anyway, but it's just one of those things when you're in a different city, you draw attention to yourself, and you have to. It's so funny. I don't get as many questions when I'm wearing the Whaler jersey as I do the Canes. When I wear like this Canes lid that I'm wearing right now, there's a lot of people say, "Oh, look at the bandwagon jumper there." You know what I mean? But if you're wearing a Whalers hat, they go, "Oh, old school."
Yeah, yeah. It's like, old. You like old hockey? It's like, well, most people with Whaler stuff just like the logo. I mean,
and I've had the Canes hat on, and people said, "Oh, you're a Canes fan, huh? What makes you a Canes fan?" And I'm like, "Dude, I was with them in Hartford." And all of a sudden, oh, respect. You know what I mean? Like that's it. That's it. You know what I mean? And usually it diffuses any sort of, ribbon
tension or
tension, exactly like that. So I cannot wait to get into the stadium
and Hall of Fame game. I keep bypassing that for the stadium series, but I'm super excited about that because my wife and son will be with me, and he's looking forward to it. He's psyched. So,
and I've got my tickets to the game.
Nice.
And I'm going to be losing my mind there. I mean, again, Cam, Rod, Glenn, and the franchise.
Big night.
I'm going to be losing my mind. It's going to be so great. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm going to be able to take one of the guys he was one of my groomsmen in my wedding. Somebody I haven't seen in like 3 or 4 years. One of my good friends in Raleigh. So Greg, I think Greg listens to the podcast. He works outside a lot. So I think he probably tunes into us, but I'm excited. I already told him, I said, I have one extra ticket. If my wife and son don't go, I'll have more, but I have one. And I said, so you can come, but I don't have one for your kid. He's got 2 daughters and an older son, and I know his son wants to come. And I'm like, I got one for you. If you don't mind leaving him at home. And he was like, yep. Sorry, kid.
Yeah, sorry, this one's for me. You'll have lots of opportunities in the future. It's going to be fantastic. A big week coming up, just a little over 1 month away. How fast the time is going, my goodness. Let's we're looking really far ahead, but let's just look ahead to the rest of this week real quick. I have to say, the biggest contest and foil to the streak that we're currently on comes at us tomorrow. The Hurricanes in the Big Apple taking on the Rangers, who are sticking around. They're sticking around. I mean, they're playing well, and I mean they have up and down games. They seem to be, you know what I mean? Like as Shesterkin goes, so goes
Lafreniere got benched the other day.
I know that was big news, wasn't it? And I mean, it's a statement on his play. Like he's not panning out. And there's that discussion about, are you rushing 2 young players into the league? We talk about that with KK. Lafreniere is another one.
Yeah. I
Maybe
think they are.
too much expected out of him too soon,
Mhm.
and meteoric type player in juniors doesn't always translate. You know what I
Right.
mean? It
You
just
know,
doesn't.
I think Jarvis is an example of doing things the right way.
Yeah.
He comes in, now he wasn't a number one pick, obviously, but he
Nope.
comes in, he's relegated to a role that suits what he can do. And then as he played well, he got moved up. And as he played, he got moved down some. I'm
Yeah.
sure under the close supervision of Rod Brindamore saying, look, we're not expecting you to be, quote, a number one pick, that level of player out of the box. Because
Yeah.
it just shouldn't happen. I mean, as good as Bedard is, and that kid, we won't even have time to talk World
Holy
Juniors.
crap.
As good as he is, when he gets to the show, that's another level of hockey. I know that they're talking about him being the next Sidney Crosby, and maybe he will be. But until they're there, you don't know. And if you screw up their development in the first year or two, something that could have happened maybe won't. So the Rangers are a team I enjoy disliking greatly.
Yeah.
Not as much as the Devils, maybe as far as the New York teams go. And I actually like the Islanders. So it's not just a New York thing. The Islanders I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But the Rangers I was never a Mark Messier guy, if I'm being honest.
Oh,
I always thought he was kind of a cocky, family-friendly show. Can't say all the things I think about Mark Messier, but haven't liked him since then. And it's been a while, right?
Wow. That is a while.
And
that is a while.
So yeah, I would like to see us, we have them tomorrow. And then luckily we got a little back-to-back action because, we day off and then we got Nashville. Always a good time.
Nashville at home, and Nashville has been just really kind of awful. Nowhere near where they needed to be. A lot of people had a lot of, experts kind of thought, yeah, Nashville's going to be, a playoff team and stuff, but they have struggled mightily. And let's tee it up. Nino returns. I mean, the first game back for Nino, back in Raleigh, he is going to receive, I guarantee, a great, probably standing ovation. Because
he'll get a video, he'll get a standing he'll get the works. That I still
exactly, and we love him. I loved his work, and he, but when game time comes, then all bets are off, right? I mean, sorry, Nino, you're wearing the wrong jersey. Here we go. You know what I mean? So, but that's a game, that I think should be a win. And if you want to talk about absolutely must wins, how about Carolina traveling to Columbus? Columbus has been, oh my goodness.
11-22, I think. 11-22, 11-23. Not good. Johnny
Not good
Hockey.
At all.
I think the expectations with Johnny Hockey coming in were, this is going to get better quickly. And they haven't. I mean,
not in the least. And there's this other, I mean, in a sense, I should probably be more scared about the Columbus game than I am the Rangers game, because the Hurricanes will be up for the Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
the
this
game,
team has
100%.
proven that they are capable of losing to terrible teams, i.e. Phoenix, Anaheim. I mean, I'm telling you, these trap games, they're just dangerous.
They're appropriately named. There's a reason it's a trap game, because people keep. I mean, Arizona and Anaheim have both pulled that on a number of top flight teams in the last 6 weeks.
Boston, Toronto. And now Toronto, Phoenix has Toronto's number. It has been forever since Toronto has actually beaten the Coyotes.
It's wicked funny too.
They stomped them 6-3 the last game, and I'm like, I'm telling you what, Toronto wants no part of Phoenix, and at all, ever.
No,
it's just unbelievable, isn't it?
Just that is us versus the Red Wings. Was it 2 years ago? Last year?
Yeah,
2 years. Was it the 2 years ago? Right.
Two.
Not good. Not a good team, but every time we played them, they won. It's like I don't know. Shane Willis was talking about that on the Canes cast this week, and he was Mike Maniscalco asked him about you ever play against a team and just no matter what you just can't beat them and you just don't figure it out. And Shane told a little anecdote about that. And that's this year, that's one of Toronto's Achilles heels, right?
Oh my goodness. Maybe that's who we should be trading for. Some more players from Phoenix.
Yeah.
Just to make sure we meet them in the playoffs. We've got a coyote in our midst to take care of them. I kid. We don't need to change anything. Let's just
not on D. I leave the defense alone. The defense is really started to come around to look like last year. I mean, PK's above 80%, 81, 82% now, I think. So trending in the right direction.
Yep.
Things are looking up.
And 5-on-5, I think we're number one in so many different categories as far as defense goes and goals allowed. It's amazing. We've had a great show, Brad. We've covered everything. And again, a reminder to our listeners, those who have joined us, enjoy the program. Don't be afraid. Send us in questions. Okay. Hit us up on Facebook, on Twitter, DM us. If you want to ask us a question, you want our opinions on something, we'll be happy to answer your questions, and it could be on anything. Would love to hear from you, because this is interaction, and dialogue is always great. Lots of people have great ideas and things and take us to task too. If you don't like what we're saying, hey, we're big boys. I mean, literally,
yeah.
We're literally big. We can take it. We got thick skin. You bring it to us, we'll answer your questions, and we'll do our best.
I have a 9-year-old. I can. I can. There's nothing you can say that's gonna offend or faze me too much.
The kids ask the questions, don't they?
If you want to be on the show, let us know. We've had a bunch of people on. We'd love to have more people on. If you want to meet us at the Stadium Series game, let us know. Ray and I will be tailgating probably a bulk of the day. I certainly have some friends who have invited us to hang out with them for a while. I'm hoping that our old message board folks, I think they're going to try and maybe get together, Ray, and have us join them for a little bit.
Oh my God!
So if you want to be on the show, let us know. So I normally don't do this. We're commercial free. We're one of the few podcasts we don't have commercials at all. We're not making a penny off of this unless you buy merchandise. If you buy a t-shirt from us, Ray and I make a whole $2, which basically means we make nothing, because I'm just going to use that to buy stuff to give away for folks. If you get a chance and you can rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, anywhere you do, we'd appreciate it. We read the Spotify numbers, and the podcast has greatly exceeded our expectations. But if you don't mind taking a minute, giving us 5 stars, giving us a review, that would really help and spread the word, because we think we do. We think we have a lot of fun. We think we do a pretty good job. We think we're at least mildly entertaining. My son, once again, might disagree with that, but hey, we can't all be winners.
No, and you look, this is I love that we're family friendly. I love the whole factor that hockey is for everyone.
Absolutely.
And we have so many different guests from so many different places, international guests, different backgrounds. It's awesome. I love this. I love the way we're doing it, and we just want to hear from you. So make sure you join us. There's always space in the Storm Cellar.
100%.
Remarkably large location, let me tell you. And I can't wait to see all of those people for the Hall of Fame game, the Stadium Series game. Oh my gosh.
I just realized something, Ray.
What's that?
Hall of Fame game. 2 tailgates.
2 tailgates.
Now I'm even more excited, because we get the regular tailgate, and then we get Stadium Series tailgate.
Yeah, it's gonna be sensational.
Now I'm even more excited.
Sensational. I can't
February
wait.
cannot get here soon enough. It's 6 weeks away, and I'm already like thinking about what I'm packing and what we're doing, because
me too.
I'm so looking forward to this.
It's going to be great. Can't wait. We've covered it all. We're really excited. We're looking forward to hearing from you in the future. We've got a great show coming up next week, of course. We've talked about so much. Is there anything left for us to say?
Go Canes.
That's right. Go Canes.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Ray and I greatly appreciate your support in helping us produce an informative and fun podcast. As always, we'd like to say that we believe hockey is for everyone. Whether you're a Caniac or a bunch of jerks, doesn't matter, as we're just a couple of jerks anyway. We would love to hear your questions, comments, and suggestions. We will do our best to answer anything hockey related. You can reach us by email at stormcellar97@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are at stormcellar97, and on Facebook at facebook.com/stormcellar97.